What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Creature Cast, the official Console Creatures podcast. I'm your host today, Steve Vegvar, and alongside me is my good pal Bobby. How the heck are you today?
I am stretching because I thought it was a Friday and I was late today, so I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing really well. Well, I'm doing really well, broad strokes, but I mean, we just got past tax season, and oof,
Oh yeah,
man,
I'm wait-
whoa,
I'm waiting for mine.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the hammer to drop because I know I probably owe money.
It
So
dropped super hard, and I'm dealing with it. But otherwise, things are going good. I feel like patio season is finally here. The weather is looking really nice. Um, I mean, we've got lots to look forward to in the early summer with
yeah,
Summer Game Fest and Xbox. So lots going on right now. It's an exciting time in the games industry.
it's also a stupid time if you've been following the grifters online. It's been
That's sure. Yeah,
the
yeah.
most ass backwards time that I can remember. I don't think there's been anything like this, and it's just been like really interesting to watch it. So I know everything's been good. I shouldn't say good. Everything's been okay. There's
Yeah.
been a lot of great games, and that's kind of what I feel like I've been focusing on. But then there's just some really stupid people in the industry ruining it for everybody. And I only bring it up because it is affecting a lot of people, and I feel
Sure.
like it need to be called out. I think we just call it out and then basically move on.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let
it's
them go.
best, just to acknowledge it, but not give it too much oxygen. It can't give it too much of our mind share.
Oh,
Let them
never.
win. Yeah, you just can't let it happen. So, yeah, those people suck. I'm not gonna let it get my vibes down, but I'm definitely out there looking after everyone else because yeah,
Yeah,
there are some really toxic people going after some really great people,
it's
and
just crazy to me. It
it
blows my
frustrates
mind.
me.
It just blows
Yeah,
my mind because it's like it's not hard to be a good person, and
it's really not.
it's really
It's
not. But apparently, I was wrong, and apparently, all the things we learned in school were wrong because we were taught to be nice to each other, and like that clearly doesn't work anymore. So I'm starting to teeter towards violence is the answer some days. I will always
we
say that.
settle it 1v1 Call of Duty on Rust. That's how we do it. We just knock off it's the
Hmm.
chopping block, just one after another.
Hmm.
But aside from that, I mean, there's some games to talk about. Bobby, I feel like you've been on the tear reviewing games. What have you been playing lately? Like what have you been doing?
It's gotten to the point where I think games have blurred together for me. So like I might be playing 2 or 3 games at a time, but they all
Yeah.
feel the same, which is I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But the big game I just published, I think what was it yesterday, was Endless Ocean
Hmm.
Luminous, which I don't know who's played it before or Steve if you've ever heard of it, but like
I've heard of it, but I've never
I was
played.
aware of it. Yeah, I was aware of
Yeah.
it until I got my review code and I was like, what the hell is this? And it is basically like the most calm and chilling game I played this year. And basically it's just like if you've played Abzu or
Hmm.
I think like yeah, I think that's probably the most recent game I can say is Abzu. It's this really chill game where your whole task is to just go out into the ocean and scan fish,
Right.
and that's the whole premise of the game.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Subnautica in a way as well.
It's the complete opposite, I would say, because
Oh,
Subnautica is a
interesting.
very tense game, man.
Yeah.
You're always on your toes. You're always looking for something from a monster that's gonna try and eat you or kill you or
Right.
whatever. This is the complete
There's
opposite.
n
There's
Oh,
no
okay.
combat. There's no timer. There's no like. There's no pressure to play the game. It's literally you just go out and you explore the ocean, and that's it. There's nothing
Interesting.
to it. And the reviews are kind of mixed. I've seen a lot of really mixed
Right.
scores. I've seen some like 4s, 5s, and I kind of understand where these reviewers are coming from. But the whole premise of the game is just to take your time, scan all the fish species on the seafloor, and just build your encyclopedia. And I feel like they just rushed to the ending in the game, and
Oh,
this is not a game where you should be rushing because like the whole thing is your story progress is tied to how many fish you're scanning. So like if you're trying to rush that, that'll take you forever because there's literally I think there's about 700 different species, but you got to scan them multiple times,
oh
and
my
like
god.
it adds up. So Yeah, I feel like that's the biggest complaint I'm seeing. People just rush to the finish, but I'm like 40 hours in and I'm still not close to being done. And I reviewed it just because like I figured the main gameplay loop is pretty basic. Like I know what I'm getting into. I figure after 40 hours, I feel like it's a pretty decent chunk to recommend it because like
Yeah,
what it is, and it's a perfect game to just like sit on the couch and like watch like The Office or like whatever you want to watch.
put a
Just
podcast on.
or put a bucket. It's basically that's what this game is exactly. And it's like I said, it's just a very simple game. Like you're just diving down. There's no oxygen limits. Like you can take as long.
Okay.
There is multiplayer, but it's tied heavily into the scanning of the game. But I mean, I got 1-to-1 session. It was an hour for a preview, and that was cool because there was like 40 people. Sorry, 30 people just all together working to scan the floor and find like these UMLs were like unique marine life. So like they might be like prehistoric sharks or something where you find on the floor.
Okay.
And that's the whole premise. It really is like a very simple game. I mean, it's priced as a simple game because I think it's $64.99 in Canada. I think that's $49 in the States. So you can tell it's not like a premium Nintendo title, but it's a great little detour from Dragon's Dogma or Rise the Ronin or
Sure.
you're playing right now. I know you're playing Fallout 76. Like that is kind of like the detour of what this game is. It's just
Yeah.
something you can put on. I think we watched 2 seasons of Superstore.
There you go. Yeah.
Perfect.
So I'm curious. So when you're scanning these fish, what are you getting in return? Like, are you upgrading anything? Are you improving anything? Or is it simply you're in the water, you're in this kind of like open area, just go and scan to your heart's content?
So there's 99 levels to level up. So I mean, every time you're scanning, you're getting points that you can use to buy different colors for your suit, or you can buy stickers
Yeah.
to add to like your visor or whatever, or your whole suit. And like that's basically it. It's just cosmetic stuff you unlock by earning points. And it's very superficial. I don't think it adds anything to the game. I think I would have preferred it didn't have it, but
Got it.
there,
Okay.
there are obviously people who love that kind of stuff where you can customize your suit
Mhm.
or add some stickers. I didn't do any of that. I just kind of kept leveling up. So I think I hit level 55 by the time I posted my review. So like I feel like I'm just over halfway there, but there's not much to it. It's basically every time you level up, you just gain like a new color for your suit that you can buy, and it's like 20,000 points.
Got it.
So every time you scan a fish, it gives you like an audio description of what this fish is and like what it does, and sometimes what it eats, and then it'll give you like it's like a record saying like you caught like this size fish like 20 centimeters or
Sure.
one that's like 30 centimeters, but then you come across like sharks that are like 4,000 centimeters long, and like they tells you how much they weigh and all this stuff, and like that it's just like a breathing encyclopedia. So as you're scanning, you're just learning about the fish, and like it's a cool way to just kind of learn about all these different species. But that's really all it is. It's very basic, and I actually love it. I know, like I said, the reviews are mixed, but I
saw
love this.
that. Yeah.
It's so simple. It is exactly what I needed right now because I was coming off 107 hours of Dragon's Dogma. I'm 25 hours to Rise of the Ronin, and I picked that back up.
Mm.
Stellar Blade, I'm trying to work through, and it's just like, okay, these are great games, but I need to focus on these games. Like they have all my focus, and then I don't want to give it sometimes. Some days, like I want to come home and just do nothing.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
this is how I do it. And yeah, overall, like I think it's a great game. I've called it a sleeper hit. I feel like it will be a sleeper hit. And there's a couple people that replied to my review saying, this is a perfect game for my kids because it's a very tedious game, and that's how they keep their kids busy is through tediousness.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if there's 700 species to go out and scan and just kind of vibe out, I mean, that's a great game to do exactly that. Just
And
kind
that's
of come
exactly
home.
it.
Yeah.
And that's
Put it
exactly
on.
it. And like, I mean, it's just it's sad to see that. I mean, some people, like I said, rush to the finish when like it's not a game like where it's one of those games where I feel like it's something you have to enjoy over like a month, over several weeks, because it's like I said, everything's tied to story progress. So the more fish you scan, you unlock story chapters.
Mm.
The only downside to that is story chapters either are like a minute long or 10 minutes long. So you don't know what you're getting as you're playing the game. So like chapter 2, you might get like a 10-minute one. Chapter 3, you might get like a 30-second like little clip. and the story is very basic. It's kind of boring, but I'm disappointed because it actually had some really cool stuff. Like there's like this tablet you find from like an ancient civilization, and basically there's mysteries under the sea you have to recover. So it might be like ancient coins or like ancient like maps and stuff, and it never really goes anywhere. It's just very superficial, and I'm really
Mm.
disappointed about that. But I don't care. At the end of the day, my fun outweighed my disappointments, and I feel like it really will be like a cool Nintendo game if people are talking about in like a year. And
Yeah,
yeah,
because the original, or there was an original, right?
there
Or I'm
was
not
one.
making
There
that.
was one on the Wii,
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people
and then
loved it, right?
they did, and then I actually have to look it up because it was on PlayStation 2. I remember seeing it on PlayStation
That's
2
what it was. Yeah,
on
that's where
Blockbuster.
I saw
But
like a
about
lot
but on
of.
PlayStation 2, yeah, on PlayStation 2, I have to look it up right now because it was a different series back then.
Mhm.
Um,
'Cause I
let me just
remember it having this kind of, like, cult following, and when Endless Ocean was revealed at, like, a Nintendo Switch earlier this year, people were popping off for it. I was like, "I've heard of this series before, but
yeah.
I
So
didn't know so many people were were into it."
yeah, so on PlayStation 2, it's called Everblue.
That's what it was.
And that
Okay.
it was a launch title, I believe, because first one was in 2001, and then the second one was a couple years later. So I remember seeing on Blockbuster shelves. I never played it, but
Mhm.
then it came to Wii, and I was like, "Well, this is kind of cool." And I think I might have a copy from when Blockbuster closed, but I don't think I ever played it. But I'm kind of glad that I finally this is like my first introduction because it is kind of cool, and the fact that previous games had um like they had design maps, like the developers designed the maps, like they
Oh,
had like
sure.
several oceans. This game's all procedure generated, so like every time you
Okay.
go down, it's different. And I feel like that's how you can kind of extend a game like this when you're always going out to scan wildlife. Because if you're going to the same 5 or 6 maps, I would probably tire out a lot more faster than
Oh,
what it
big
is
time.
right now, right? So it's the small changes. Some people are online saying it's not enough. They didn't really do enough with it, but at the end of the day, like I generally I had a great time with it. So I mean, if you're listening or you read the review, like know that I had like a great time with it, and like I feel like it did something specific that I needed. And like whether that the same thing for whoever's listening or whoever's reading it, that's up to you. But like I mean, you're getting a pretty cool little diving game. I know it's very basic, like I said, but I don't go scuba diving every day. This is a cool little way just to go down to the ocean. So
And I think that's exactly it. I think even to me, just listening to this and kind of, trying to relate to it, it does feel like it's a very specific game for a specific feeling. Like, you have to be in a very specific
yep.
mood for it to for it to resonate with you, which, I mean, there are many games like that, and I can even see that being attractive to me at some point down the road where I'm like, "You know what?
Mhm.
There's just nothing in my catalog right now. There's nothing on my consoles that is speaking to me. I just want to kinda turn my brain off, or kinda just go into this open playground and just do a specific thing, which is scan a whole bunch of sea life."
It's like Pokemon Snap kind of, and like
Sure.
I feel that's a good way to relate. If you like Pokemon
Yeah.
Snap, it's kind of the same. You're not taking pictures obviously, but you're just kind of going out and looking and just admiring the wildlife, and like that's cool to me. I mean, I wish more games did that, but you have like Call of the Wild and some
Right.
random stuff, but like they're all niche games, and like that's cool. I mean, this is something I would recommend to people down the line when you're really looking just for something that's after you've been burned out by games, and like we all hit that. I know a couple people who were just talking to me saying, I've had nothing to play the past couple months just because I've been burned out, and
Yeah.
that's normal. I feel like that's normal in today's industry. It's normal to just feel like there's nothing to play, but in reality, there's so many games out, and that's the thing. You're just overwhelmed by you have
Mhm.
it's like a choice aversion. Like you don't know what to pick, and
Yeah.
it's hard to pick something, and
Paralysis.
it's choice paralysis exactly. But I'm currently like that's my main game. I am playing something else I'm really excited to talk about in a couple of weeks, but yeah, I can't talk about it. I mean, a lot of people are looking forward to this game. It's something that's coming in May. Like that's really all I can say. But like I've been better part of a week into this game, and like I love
Oh,
it. It's cool.
very nice.
And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I feel like the next couple months. There are a couple small games that I'm kind of looking forward to, but yeah, I mean, I've come to this point where my my reviews are like legitimately just reviews. Like I just kind of blast through them. But like the games like I've just been playing on my own free time have been a lot
Mm,
more important to me. So I bought Fallout 76 for Steam Deck today, and I'm gonna
nice.
try to get through that. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, and then I know Rogue Prince of Persia is coming out this month on in early access. So I want to get into that on my
Yep.
free time. And I got No Rest for the Wicked. I want to start playing that because they apparently patched it for Steam Deck. So like these are games I want to get into on my own free time. And yeah, it's just small things like that. Like, I want to try to fit time in this year because like I know there's a lot happening, but I love games too much. Like I'd rather just try and juggle 5 or 6 at a time and enjoy them.
At least as long as you're having fun, I think that's the most important part. And
That's
then
all it comes down to. I mean, like honestly, I know a lot of people in our industry review them, and it's overwhelming to play
yes,
games for a job. But I'm trying to move away from that. I'm trying to no longer live by the embargo. Like if I get out by the embargo, fine. But don't don't come at me if I'm like a day late because like honestly, there's just too many games to play. I try to do my best, and yeah, that's what it comes down to. Like when you cut it down to the wire, it's hard to like push yourself because it's not fun. So
yeah.
I've been pushing back on that. So a lot of games I'm like, hey, like I need more time. Like if you have codes earlier, give it to us. And like it's yeah, that's basically my message. Is just play games, enjoy them. Like doing it as a job is hard, and just don't do it. It's not fun at all.
Well, I mean, it can be fun. I have fun with it,
Uh,
but I think
certain companies, yes. Okay,
oh,
certain companies,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. It really
Like
it's very dependent on the
like for
circumstances.
example, well, we can say PlayStation. PlayStation has been amazing for that.
Of
Like they
course.
give us ample time, and um, even Square Enix. Square Enix gave me a month for Final Fantasy 7, but there's other games like I got recently, and they're like, "Hey, you got a week to play this," and I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna pass because no, that's not enough time for me to do 50 hours in a week. I'm
Can be
not
a lot.
gonna."
Yeah.
Yeah, but
But I think that's I mean, we talked about it before in the past. I think that's the nice thing about having this show and having our audience support us this way is that we can come back each week, kind of talk about a game as we're going through it, not have to be like, okay, we've necessarily hit the finish line for every single game we're talking about on the show. Sometimes we do, we had the Stellar Blade review that went up recently. We did that for Rise of the Road and stuff like that. Where we've tried to at least, a lot of the people on the panel all reach the conclusion. But I mean, even Stellar Blade, you came into that conversation about a third, maybe even
yeah,
halfway through. Still very valid, very valid opinions and perspective. And I think that's the nice thing about having the show that we can come back each week,
that's
talk about a
exactly it.
game, and then just as the audience out there starts playing the game as well, they can keep checking back in, see what our progress is versus theirs. And then I think it makes a very good conversation and it's very engaging for an audience as well.
I think that's kind of why I think we created this show. I know we had
Yeah,
like some uncertainty of what we wanted to do when we started, but like we hit this stride and it's been good. I mean, the numbers kind of show what's happening. So like, yes, like I'm thankful for that. So like, I'm thankful we have like this weekly show where it's like, hey, I'm gonna come back next week and I'll let you know what I'm doing because that's what's
exactly.
been happening, right? So yeah, I'm totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the only thing I can say about that is just this year needs to slow down because, like we said, it's just there's just so much happening and there's so many games, and I don't know how people do this for a living and balance like 4 games, and they barely sleep, and it's just tough for somebody like doing this full time. Like kudos to those people. That's all
Oh,
I
for
can say.
sure. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, like I said, yeah. Other than that, Steve, I know you've got like 2 games on there, and I'm looking at your list, and I have both queued up on my Steam Deck, and I want to know more about Another Crab's Treasure
Yeah,
because
let's talk
everyone's
about it.
talking about it, and I'm jealous. I'm not playing it right now, but
Well,
it's
you were playing another ocean game, and then I was
I
playing an
know.
ocean game, so we were in the same pool almost. But yeah, another Crab's Ocean, best described as like a shells like souls like as a little crab guy. This game is pretty adorable. It's got a very like cartoon comedic aesthetic. Kind of wears its inspiration of SpongeBob SquarePants on its sleeve in so many ways. Not only the fact that you can unlock a Mr. Crab cosmetic outfit in the game, but it's very tongue in cheek humor. The main character Krill, he has a very uh, I don't know. He's very cartoonish and expressive in how he talks and moves and
Right.
everything. But essentially, if you're familiar with any kind of Souls-like game, whether it's Dark Souls or Elden Ring or even Rise of the Ronin, to some extent, you kind of have a baseline understanding of what another crab's treasure is. You play as this small crab who has ended up losing his home, his shell, the shell he, loves and holds dear near and dear to his heart. So on a quest to reclaim his stolen shell, he goes out
Right.
into this open ocean kind of area, and in order to survive, he has to find other items, other you know pieces of garbage or other pieces of just like trash essentially to use as a temporary shell, which also acts as like his defense
Right.
mechanic in the game. So yeah, just like any other Souls game, you're up against these hard hitting enemies, and what you end up learning is that the shell can act as almost like a shield or even a parry move. In that, so if an enemy starts, winding up their attack, you can kind of hybrid, like go back into your shell, and it will deflect or even like cause like a parry move or like a counteract. Um, to that enemy. And yeah, it's essentially you go out into this open ocean area, different environments and stuff like that, and you're just on a mission to find your shell. It's kind of basic in that way, but it surface level from the story perspective, it's kind of basic. There is a narrative there. Character wise, it's pretty fleshed out. I mean, like, I was pretty surprised in seeing Krill, the main character, actually have personality to him, interact with other characters, and they actually spend a lot of time kinda trying to create, like, an engaging story for you, along the way. It's packed full of humor. I was chuckling a lot, some very laugh out loud moments as well. It's very uncharacteristic of a Souls like to have that kind of humor. I felt weird laughing as I'm playing this game because usually, it's very gothic and dark and moody, and here I am just, like, laughing at the fact that, Krill is, wearing, um, I don't know, like a mouse as like a computer mouse as his shell, and
Yeah.
he's walking around. It's just kind of silly that way. The other nice thing is that it does have this very very novel, and I think this is the best, the core way that it kind of like grabbed my attention. It has this very accessible feature so that in if you're ever feeling overwhelmed or you're just not into Souls likes at all, you can put on this assist mode, which gives Krill a gat, like a pistol, and that's what he
Oh,
wears
okay.
as his shell. It's just a straight up pistol on him, and you can one shot enemies very literally, where it's just you click a click of a button, he shoots the enemy, whether or not it's like a major boss or just like a regular like scrub grunt enemy, both down in one shot. And you can just kind of experience the game that way if you really want. There's a whole also like a whole bunch of assists where you don't lose your quote unquote your souls when you die. They're called microplastics in the game, that you accumulate to again either
Right
buy
on.
other shells from a vendor, upgrade your shells, upgrade your sword, or level up yourself. So you can also turn on that mode so that you don't lose those. There's also a whole bunch of other ones, but essentially, yeah, it plays out just like a regular Souls like does, but it has this very cartoonish SpongeBob SquarePants kind of motif over it, and it's
Right.
there's a lot to like about it. It's definitely flawed in a lot of ways. I mean, Bobby, you and I both came off of playing now Rise of the Ronin, Stellar Blade, which
Yeah.
again, Souls adjacent games in many ways. And at this point, I just feel like I'm playing so many of these that I can now point out when it's not like pixel perfect where I'm like, oof, my attack should have hit that, or
You know
the
when the
enemies.
frames are counting. Yeah, you can count
Yeah,
frames.
exactly. It's yeah, you can kind of anticipate like the pixel perfect frames of it, and I'm like, it just doesn't feel as tight as it should be. Granted, this is a very, small independent team that's making this game, but we are living in an ecosystem where all these other games just came out. A lot of people are playing them, so I can
That's
point out
true.
those flaws, and it's a little tough to get through. I will admit, just because it doesn't feel as good as a traditional
Yeah.
Souls does.
And that I think that's just kind of what happens when you're obviously like an indie developer. You don't really have the resources to, I don't know, smooth out your gameplay. I guess like I'm sure it feels good to play, but I mean, with that extra bit of money, they could probably just get it right, like something like a Sekiro game or something.
Yeah,
But Agro Crab's a good developer. I mean, I
for
actually
sure.
was I was just looking them up because I remember the name's very familiar, and then I actually reviewed their last game, Going Under. So I mean, I'm kind of aware what they're capable of, and like they are a cool developer. I do like their style; like they're very flashy, they're very colorful,
Mhm.
and they're doing something different. Like a colorful Souls like sounds pretty cool to me. So
It's very new, it's very unique. The other cool thing that they do is that they always put these, like, every shell that you find has its own attributes, whether it's scaling the weight of it or scaling the um,
right,
how durable it is, so to speak. And so you basically get to decide, like, okay, am I going to go after the pop can, which doesn't give me that much shield, but is very
right.
light, so I can, as Krill, I can dodge, I can move around a lot easier, or do I go for something a little heavier,
That's cool.
but it gives me way more shield, because as you get hit, your shell wears down and eventually breaks, causing you to then scramble, look around your environment, and say, "Shit, what do I have that's kind of at my disposal?"
Right.
It's a very cool mechanic. It also kind of works against itself in some ways, where because because you're supposed to recycle and go through all these different shells, I
Right.
always feel like I don't have an attachment to any of them, which makes me feel like I'm never really, I in a way, I'm not progressing the way I would, because for
Yeah.
instance, in Elden Ring or in, Dark Souls, any of these other games, you find something, you find a piece of armor, that's
Right.
yours. So
Yeah,
you
you
can
keep it
feel,
for as long as you want. You can
not
upgrade
only
it.
do you look cool, but it's affecting your character until you get the next best thing. Here,
Yep.
it's not really that case. You only get it until A, it breaks, or B, you die, and then it's gone. And to me, I understand what they're doing. It plays into the whole, being a crab and
Yeah.
underwater and everything. So I totally understand their vision of it. To me, it just kind of seems, it's so far removed from what I know from a Souls like game that I'm like, oh, it's new
It's
and
an
different to
adjustment.
me.
It's a big adjustment. And
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? Have that mechanic, but is there an option to turn that off?
I don't
Like
believe so.
like if they had that, I think that would probably be a lot better for people.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just it makes you think differently. I think that's kind of cool in itself because like it's not just your basic soul like that where you have to
Yeah.
dodge and you have to do this. You actually have to plan ahead. If your shield breaks, like what do? So you gotta look for the next thing. And like, is it something you can be in a level and you see like a shield lying around somewhere, you just pick it up and he wears it right away, or is it like you have to equip it?
No, no, you basically, you pop off your old shell, it lies on the ground, and then you're
Right,
wearing your new one. And it is very much that, "Oh shit, I gotta think on my feet here," especially when you get into some of these boss arenas where you go
right,
in, you get hit one too many times, your shield's broken, and you're like, God damn, I got 2 pop cans here. They're pretty much garbage, and in comparison to the one that I walked in with. So what do I do now? Do I just, like, power through? Do I die and kinda try to reset and maybe find something better along the way to kinda set
right.
myself up better? So again, a whole different train of thought, so to speak.
Do you have the ability to throw them at bosses, like if they're
No,
broken?
no.
See, that would make a big difference.
That
Like
would
if
be
it,
cool.
it's like because you can throw items in Souls games. Why can't you throw your shell at
Yeah.
something when it's about to break and then it just shatters?
Yeah,
Because that's
there's
what I would do in Zelda. Like if I knew my shield's about to break, I would just throw it
oh,
because it does damage, and then you would
yeah.
just move forward. Like that would be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, that's a great idea for maybe a potential sequel or something. Yeah, there's no throwables, there's nothing like that. The only like melee weapon you have is a plastic fork that you can upgrade
Yeah, I
along
saw
the
that.
way. Or you equip the gun shell, which I totally transparent and upfront. I did start using that during some of the bosses where again, I platinumed Rise of the Road, and I put my time in with Stellar Blade. I've got Elden Ring just around the corner, Shadow of the Erd Tree. I'm not banging my head against a
Yeah.
wall with the crab game. So as
No,
soon
that's
as I hit a boss or a section that I was like, oof, this is just a little too difficult, put on the gun, blast through it, get on to the next
that's what
phase.
it's there for.
Yeah.
I,
Because
I I don't approve of people saying like you have to play a certain way. Like no, you play how
now,
you want, and if you don't like it, then you can, you know, fuck off. I'm not
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
sugarcoat it.
Don't no, absolutely. But yeah, even despite its flaws mechanically, I think there's a lot to like here. I was a little disappointed that once I reached the end of the game, I think I accumulated 5 bugged achievements. I was like, "Damn
Yeah,
it."
not online. I've
Oh
heard
my
people.
god. Like, some are just down like, you can even tell there because you can buy shell insurance, which if you really love a specific shell and you don't want it to
To break.
break, you can buy shell insurance, and it kind of just saves it so that if it does break, it basically respawns on you, and then you have it until it, buy shell insurance again. I've bought it shell insurance many times. I've used it, everything. I still don't have that damn achievement. It's one of the most easy, basic, rudimentary things you can do in the game. And I know that a lot of other people must have done it. And the percentage of people who have it unlocked is staggeringly low, which makes me think that, yeah, it's just
Yeah, sounds like a bug.
a widespread bug. There's also other ones where, yeah, I don't want to get into like spoiler territory, but it's beating specific bosses. I got a bugged one there and a few others, but yeah, it was just a little bit of a bummer. I'm hoping that because a lot of them are progression based or even like the shell insurance one,
Right.
I can come back at a certain point when they patch the game and it just kind of auto unlocks.
Auto pops. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what happened to my Elden Ring save. Like I did
Oh,
everything.
really?
Well, I shouldn't say it's an issue, but I did everything. I literally, I to me, I platinumed the game, but the ending soft locks it locks you out of being able to see all the endings at the end, right? Like it's
Yep.
basically, and that's all I do is I just had to see the alternate endings, and I'm kind of I'm just annoyed I never got the actual platinum because like I fought everyone, I did everything, and I I I just don't like the fact that near the end of the game it's just like nope, you can't do this
Right.
because it's just this person's gone from this point and you can't see them. And I just feel like it's stuff like that. Like I feel like I'm calling it a glitch. I don't care. I am calling it a glitch because I earned that platinum. I did.
Yeah.
So I feel your
Yeah,
pain
that
on
is
this.
unfortunate.
I feel
Um,
your
hopefully, though, by the time Shadow of the Erd Tree comes rolling in, that you have some incentive to get back in there.
well, I'm
Maybe
gonna be
even,
playing it, but
yeah.
yeah, I don't think I can do the platinum. Maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens with the achievements for this game because we all were consumed by Elden Ring when it came
Oh
out.
my
Like
god, I can't
that
wait.
was yeah, I can't wait either. But it's just like that kind of burned me at the end because like I spent over 170 hours playing that game on
Yeah,
PC
yeah,
and PlayStation, and then I couldn't just because of one small thing. I'm locked out of it. No, I hate that.
that's tough.
It
I'm very
sucks.
fortunate that I did not run into any issues on Xbox, so I got all the achievements for that one. Because otherwise, yeah, I'd be
It sucks because
like my heart would be crushed because of it. It would, yeah, because I spent a lot of time like you did in that
yeah,
game.
it's just when you fight all the optional bosses and you like prep for them and you
Yep.
level up and you do all that, and then it's like, well, by the way, we didn't tell you this, but once you hit this point, yeah, you can't load your save and just watch the other endings, and that sucks because oh man,
That's
I was
exactly what happened to me, and I had to run the game back over and over again just to get those different endings.
yeah, and I hate that. I should have just whatever. Times have changed. I'm done. That was
Yeah.
like a year ago. I'm good. 2 years ago, I moved
Yeah.
on. I am.
I can tell.
Uh, that one chaps me bad. Like
Yeah.
it was.
But yeah, no, I think another Crab's Treasure, very nice to see an indie studio kind of tackle Souls likes. I mean, we're getting more and more of these. I mean, Liza P sort of not quite an indie game, but it's kind of like a double A. I like the fact that it's not exclusively a genre that only AAA studios can tackle. So yeah, it's out there, available on all platforms. It's also on Xbox Game Pass, so
Yeah,
highly recommend at least checking it out. Hopefully, if you're into achievements or trophies, you don't run into as many issues as I did. But otherwise, pretty fun game. I like the art style. I like the environments. I like Krill. I want to see more of them.
I feel like that's I like I said, I have it on my Steam Deck. I'm gonna try and load it up and just play a little bit.
Yeah,
And yeah, the problem is, it's just like I said, like we all know, there's so many games coming out, and it's just like, which one do you pick? How do you pick like the couple you juggle? Like, how do you
that's
pick?
true.
For me, it's just like, I mean, I prioritize um well, like Metroidvania. So like, it's like, if that's something you're doing, I'm in right away. I'll check it out. And we have a couple of ones that are coming out this month that I look pretty cool. Like there's like that Gestalt, uh, Cinder and Steam or something like that. Like that's coming out this month, and like I'm
Hmm.
looking forward to small games like that. But if you're saying I can just one shot everything, I'm gonna play this game. I'll just one shot everything and have call it a day. Maybe I'll just cut my playtime in half, because I feel like that's probably what that's meant for, is just to just rush through it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's there to overcome some difficult bosses because there are quite a few, and yeah, just cut down on the busy work. I mean, you still get all the XP, you still get all the currencies and stuff like that. So you're not missing out on anything. You're just
Yeah,
powering through it. And if that's how you want to experience the game, all the power to you. I mean, it's there. Why not? Why not use it?
that's exactly it. And that actually reminds me, I loaded up Fallout New Vegas,
You did,
and
yeah.
what I noticed was I actually have a one shot pistol. It's called the debug pistol, which basically kills everything in one shot. And I think I'm
Interesting.
just gonna run a new playthrough with that,
That sounds
because
like fun.
it's fun. Because one shot, it's all explosive ammo. So every time you shoot, whatever you hit explodes, and it kills them instantly. So like that's what I've been preparing for, alongside Fallout 76. I'm
I
probably gonna
like
try
that.
and juggle those two. But like, it's so much fun because like legitimately nothing can stop me. Even if you're wearing Brotherhood armor, I can destroy it in one shot, and it's just been so much fun just rushing through the game. And I think it's like a 10-year playthrough. I started in 2014 when I got my old computer, and like I left it, but then I loaded up on Steam Deck last week, and it was exactly where I left it.
That's crazy.
And the
God, I
pistol
love the
was there,
internet.
all my caps were there. It
Yeah.
was great. It was great. So I'm gonna that's why when you said there's like one shot gun in another Crab's Treasure, I was like, that reminded me of Fallout. Yeah.
No,
Great. Games are
absolutely.
great.
Yeah. And
Games are great.
I've been still playing Fallout 76 in my spare time, just kind of chipping away at it. I described it on Twitter the other day. That's just kind of become like my weekend game where I'll wake up on a Saturday morning, make a cup of coffee, and just sit there for a couple hours, just passively doing missions and stuff like that. It's a very, like I said before on a previous episode, it's a very cozy game, it feels like, only because you don't have to adhere to its online rules, which I'm pleasantly surprised by.
Right.
I really don't feel stricken or encouraged in any way to really play with other people if I don't want to, or even do any of the base building. Just the other day, I was playing and I laid down my first little bit of flooring because I was like, fine, I
Right.
just want to organize the things that I want to build a little bit better. So I had built like 10 items in this like small pocket of this wide open world. But other than that, I was like, I don't care about putting up roofs or walls or anything like that. Whatever. Don't care. I just want to do the missions. I just want to exist in this world. That's all I need from the game.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm glad to hear, because like I hate base building games. Like Fortnite, when they got rid of
Yeah,
that, the greatest thing they ever did. So I don't ever expect Fall to do away with it, but like I'm glad it's
right.
optional, and that you can just kind of like push it aside and focus on playing the game, because it does look like it's fun.
It is.
And the scenario, like I like that. I think it's the Appalachian Mountains you're in, so like that was
Yeah,
cool.
West Virginia. It's beautiful. For a Fallout game for a Bethesda
Yeah,
game.
exactly.
Still
So
has like
cool.
its hitches and everything, and its graphical, you know, limitations, so to speak. But the fact that it's so close to when the nukes fell, it still has like this kind of lush forest to it.
Yeah.
Um, it's a very interesting perspective. I really dig it. I love just walking through, yeah, the West Virginia mountains, the forests, the kind of like cityscapes and stuff like that. They really do a nice job of blending all these different kind of environments together
Right.
in a way that New Vegas really doesn't do. Three definitely doesn't do. Fallout 4 maybe a little bit. That's when they started introducing more forestry and just these like cross
Yeah.
intersections of biomes. But I think this is the one where I was like, "Whoo, this is actually something to look at," and it's nice. It's got this almost brownish orange palette to it. It's not murky and like gross looking, almost like Fallout 3 was.
Yeah, I think that's what I remember. I need to go back and play Fallout 3. You guys say I don't think I ever finished it. I think I got
Oh, really?
halfway, but yeah, that's the only one I ever finished. And I don't know what it was. I don't know. I think it came 2008. So like, I don't even remember what games I was playing back then, but like it wasn't Fallout. So I think I got a copy. Like I think I returned it from to Blockbuster, and then
Yeah.
it wasn't to New Vegas. I think New Vegas is the one that was like, yeah, that this is okay. I understand the kind of like the gameplay loop.
Right.
And that kind of brought me on. So I mean, I like to this day, I still think New Vegas is the best game.
I agree.
Yeah, it is the best. Four is good, but it never really resonated as much as New Vegas did. I think it was just like the the ingredients were perfect for that game. So I mean, it came in a perfect time. I remember when it came out, like it launched back to back with it. I think it was Enslaved Journey to the West. So like those two games I was playing simultaneously, and like, I just remember how much fun I was having playing back to back games like that. And it's been rare. Like, you don't really get games like that anymore. So like it just kind
No,
of reminds
definitely
me of
not.
it's easier days.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a whole different atmosphere, different industry now, specifically because we just are so far removed from any kind of Fallout aside from
It
Fallout 76.
I think my biggest complaint in the industry today is that the games are just too big, and there's no risk anymore. You're kind of seeing it. Everyone's just kind of churning games out now, and it's just like the PS2 and PS3 eras were so different, and like you're playing games that are just so different back in the day. Like, can you imagine a game like Lollipop Chainsaw coming out today?
Never. Or
Never.
Naughty Bear. That's the one I
Or not even.
always go back to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or even like I would even say Near. Like Near is a game that came out in 2010. Like I don't think it would come out today and
Mhm.
do as well as it did. Because I
Yeah.
mean, or it's just weird to me. Like there's no risk in games anymore.
I
You're either
mean,
doing really big AAA games that are um, iterations of existing games like Final Fantasy
yeah.
or like God of War or X or Halo, and that's it. There's no new IPs. Like look what happened to Immortals of Avium. Like that was kind of cool. Like it was a great idea and didn't pan out, and it cost millions of dollars to
Well, that's
make. And
partially why I'm such a huge supporter of Death Stranding because, I mean, granted, it's coming from,
rare
a very
exception. Rare exception.
prolific,
And that's the thing.
mastermind and auteur in the industry, but it's wild as shit, and no other
Exactly.
studio would even try to make a
I
game
don't
like
think they.
that.
I don't even think they could try. They could never do what he does. Like even if
Yeah.
there's a definitive line of what he can do and what other developers can't do. So yeah, he's the rare exception to that big risk AAA game. So like kudos to him. But I mean, the only place we're seeing innovation or just wacky ideas is in the double A space and
Double A and indie space, yeah.
indie space. And like I hate to beat that drum, but like we need to support them and give them what the space they need, and have the big three. So like give them the funds to make these games. Like it's a perfect concoction, right? Like look at
Mhm.
Rise of Ronin. I know that it's a bigger game, but like Sony funded. I'm pretty sure Sony funded that game, and they didn't have to worry about the development. It was just hey, you guys, here's some money, make the game.
Yeah, I think the story in both cases with Rise of the Ronin and Stellar Blade is that they've at least funded bare
Marketing and stuff
minimum,
like that.
40% of the budget, because
Which perfect.
I think that's basically what Sony's threshold is for them to then slap the PlayStation banner at the front of it and just call it
Yeah.
essentially a PlayStation Studios game, is having at least 40%.
It's a great idea. And look, they've got 2 back-to-back games there and pretty damn good.
Very good, yeah, exactly.
So,
They
I
were
mean,
very smart to hitch their wagon to both of those games at a time
yeah,
when clearly
exactly.
they didn't really have all that much going on,
Yeah,
for
I
this
mean,
calendar
and that's
year.
exactly it. So, like, I think we're gonna see more of that in the future. You're gonna see just Sony, um, not buying studios, but maybe just, offering up the funds to, to partially develop games, and that's fine. That's what should happen because, like, look at um, Spider-Man 2's budget is like $300 million, and who wants to spend that
Insane.
kind of money? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's more than some of the movies that are out these days. Like,
yep.
there's only a handful of movies that
That's
cost that much.
not sustainable. The other one that, on the Xbox side that always, pops into my head is As Dusk Falls.
Yeah,
That was another
I
very
still haven't played
smart.
that game.
It's very good if you're into those kinds of games.
I am. It's just I think when it launched, like it launched when like, obviously a busy schedule, so it's
Yes.
like it was overlooked. I feel like it was just overlooked, and like we previewed it. Pretty sure we reviewed it. It wasn't me though, but I mean, I still haven't played it. I know I think it's out on PlayStation now, but
Yeah, it is.
I haven't looked at it. And like I think it's was it Donut that made it?
No, it was no, because it very much does seem like it was, Interior Night.
Yeah, that's who it was. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those games. Like I love like these narrative games, but yeah. Oh, and they're from Montreal. No,
No,
Interior Night. Sorry,
I don't believe so.
they're from England. Sorry,
Yeah.
but yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's something I want to play. It slipped by me, and like
Mhm.
it's just games like that. It's just like maybe I don't know what it is. It slipped my mind. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, Bobby, is there anything else you wanted to note? Was there anything else you've been playing? Otherwise, we can start wrapping up.
I don't think so. I mean, I really can't even think these days. Like I have just 1,000 games on the go. No, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Beautiful.
I will say though, I just finished watching Knuckles, and man, I love Knuckles.
Same.
Can we just briefly say how
Yes.
good episode 4 was?
Thank you. Holy
episode
shit.
4 was like the greatest thing that Sonic has ever done. It's
Ever.
better than Sonic Adventure 2. That
Ever.
musical episode is like the greatest thing I've seen in the last year. It beats all of Fallout. I'm sorry to say it. Retelling Knuckles' origin through Adam Pally is the best thing anyone has ever done.
It was delightfully entertaining. I was in hysterics. They did not need to commit that much, but I am so happy they did. Yeah, I thought the entire show as a whole was like, a good 7, but that episode in particular is like an 8.5.
It was so good, and you know what? I like Wade. I know people are saying he's annoying, but
Really?
I like
Keep saying
Wade.
that. I love him.
I saw people online saying Wade's annoying and
No.
like, he's the worst. And I'm like, no, Wade is hilarious. Adam Pally is a great actor.
He carried that show.
He did. And
Yeah.
if you've never seen Happy Endings, then you don't know Adam Pally and what he can do, because him in that show was like the greatest thing.
He's also the best part of Mindy Project.
Yeah,
As soon as he left, I was like, I don't like this show anymore.
Everyone keeps saying that, and I still never seen the Mindy Project.
You don't need to, other than Adam Pally's involvement. Like as soon as he's introduced, the show becomes like really good, and then when he leaves, the show becomes really bad. And
I will have to watch what he made, because anything Adam Pally's in, I'm there.
Yeah,
so
I will say though, there was the mention. I totally forgot that he was in Sonic 2. So when like his introduction in the show, I was like, why are they like skimming over this? It just doesn't seem like why is Knuckles like with him? It doesn't really make all that much sense. And then in like episode 4, they're like, oh, I was at the battle with Robotnik. I was like, wait, what? And then
Like,
I
I
had
should
to
go
look
back
it up, and I was like, "Oh my god, you were in
to
Sonic
rewatch
2."
that movie. I vaguely remember it, but like, you know what? I'm reinvigorated for Sonic. Like,
Me too.
I like the show. I like the movie. So
Yep,
I want a season two. I think
same.
Idris Elba as Knuckles is like great casting. I think it's not a stunt casting. It really does work.
Mhm.
So if he's as good as he is as Knuckles, I'm now doubly excited for Keanu as Shadow because
I
like
agree. Yeah.
really like, I I will go as far to say as Knuckles and Sonic the Hedgehog are a better IP than Mario the movie because Mario the movie was very bad. I think after watching it a couple times, it was beautiful, but it was just so basic, and it was missing heart. I feel.
Yeah, I mean, it served its purpose. I enjoyed it for what it was, but I do agree that I think granted, now we're 3 projects into this Sonic franchise,
Yeah,
they've had a lot of room to experiment and grow and everything. I hope that at some point we're having a similar conversation about the Mario movie franchise where we're like, "Oh,
I
now
can
we've
only
had
hope.
Mario 2 and the Yoshi show," or something like
Yeah,
that.
like I can hope for that. We can always
Yeah.
hope for it, but like I don't know. It like I said, it was stunning. It was a beautiful movie. It just I don't know. It just didn't really resonate as much as I wanted it to compared to
That
say
is
like
true. I saw it in theaters and I enjoyed it. I walked out. I was like, "That was fun," and I've never really thought about it again other
I haven't
than
watched it since.
no, me neither. And the only times I think about it is just, like fan theorizing how cool it would be to have a Smash movie. That's the
Yeah,
only
like
time I'm
that's
like, "Oh yeah,
basically it.
let's get more of this."
But like I do like I hope a good sequel comes out of whatever they're developing.
Yeah.
But for now, Sonic is like the best uh, not the best. It's the boldest adaptation for a video game, and it works well in what it does because having these characters in the real world is probably why this succeeded. It feels like that's the bridge that makes it do what it does. So
Right.
that's where I'm taking it. I mean, if you watch Sonic X, you kind of know having Sonic interact with humans works.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people would agree that that f the first concept of it definitely threw a lot of people off.
Yeah,
Definitely
I'm
the
glad that was not what we got, but
Yeah, but even just the base concept of, "Hey, we're bringing Sonic into our world," a lot of people are like, "Hold up, wait a minute." But then I think now 3 projects in again, it
it
can
just
only work
works.
this way.
The
Like, seeing
ring,
Knuckles interact with, like, the bowling alley and learning about real life and learning about, like, mixtapes and stuff like that. It's funny. It's
it works.
objectively funny,
It just
yeah.
works. I'm like, there, yeah, no, like, everything just works. Like, and that's kind of what I'm glad ended up happening is it translated well to a new medium, and it's hard to say that for a lot of things. Like um what properties have been able to translate from one to the other successfully. There's maybe like a handful, like
Yeah,
Last of Us, Fallout now,
Fallout,
um, Sonic now, and that's all that really
Cyberpunk.
comes to mind. Like Witcher started out really strong.
Uh-huh.
Netflix bungled that to the point where
Oh,
they've now
huge.
canceled everything.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
do you remember how popular The Witcher was
Yeah, the
when it
first 2 seasons, people loved it, and now
they were the next Game of Thrones, and then
uh-huh, they
whatever
had.
happened behind the scenes, I don't know whether it's the showrunners or Netflix. I feel it's a mix of both. They ruined it, and now it's like, whoa, more Witches coming out. Well, I don't care. I didn't even watch the last season. I skipped it. I don't even care to watch it because once you
It's
tell me Henry's leaving, it's like, well,
it's
why am
tough.
I going to watch?
It's a
Yeah,
it's a very tough watch. I haven't even finished it because I just can't be bothered, but, I mean, Castlevania is another great one, but I
yeah.
agree that it's few and far between, but I think for everything that Sonic is, it does a really good job of being a video game adaptation that's a lot of fun, but I will say that had Adam Pally not been in Knuckles, that show wouldn't work whatsoever. I
Well,
couldn't imagine another actor in that role that
yeah,
would bring that much, like, heart and levity to it and play off Idris Elba as much as he does.
yeah. Like I love Wade's character. Like
Same.
he the first movie, whatever, he was there, but I'm glad they gave him his own series, and like he is a good character, and like I don't want to see just one season. I want more. Give us more
Same.
of these two.
Yeah.
Sonic and Knuckles, great duo. Wade and Knuckles, that's like who can we compare them to? They're like David Spade and Chris Farley.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Get
Yes.
David Spade and Chris Farley. And like I got Tommy Boy I got like a Tommy Boy vibe from the show.
Sure. Yeah. I can see that.
So that I want more of that. So yeah. Paramount, do it.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, Paramount, that's is way better than the Halo show. I'll give them that.
I mean, I watched one episode and I abandoned it. I could never get into it. If I tried, I probably wouldn't even want to give it another chance because word of mouth is just bad. So if word of mouth is bad, that means I'm probably not going to like it. And a lot of people that I know are telling me it's not good. That kind of tells me I shouldn't watch it. So all the signs point to it. It's just like they had a great opportunity with Halo and they bungled it. So
Yeah.
I don't know why, but the IP is so bountiful for lore and stories,
Oh my God.
and they ruined it.
Put me in a writer's room and I will fix that show in a heartbeat. But
My
maybe
Xbox, do it.
maybe they just have to put Adam Pally in Halo, make him
Can you
Master Chief. I
imagine?
don't know. Like just season 3 starts and boom, it's Adam Pally as Master Chief.
I would
It
subscribe.
couldn't be any worse.
It couldn't be, but yeah, I don't know. I really have nothing really good to say about Halo. I mean, it really feels like a waste opportunity, and that's all I can say about it. I mean, shame.
At least Xbox has the Fallout show, and that's very successful.
Yeah, 65 million hours watched or something like that. That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What a good get for Amazon.
I've watched it 3 times, right? So I mean, like that kind of tells you it is a good series. Like I'm so eager for season 2.
Same. Yeah. Very, very excited for that. Bobby, as we start to wrap up this episode, where can people find you, find your Endless Ocean review, and keep up with Console Creatures?
You can find me at B Pashalitis on all social channels or Console Creature. And follow my link tree. Everything's there. Every social platform. Our website's there. Have at it.
Love that. And you can find me across the internet at SVigvari. And we appreciate you checking out the episode. Please, if you feel inclined, leave us a review, share with your friends, because it goes a long way for us and it helps us continue to grow and attract, the support of others. So yeah, please do that. And we'll be back next week with another episode. But until then, we'll see ya. Bye.
Bye.